Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Well, welcome to our panel about relationships in the Wheel of Time. I am Jenny, lesbian nerdy, as some of you may know. That would be me. I was inspired by the puppets. So, but speaking of which, before we begin our discussion, I'd like to just go around and let people introduce themselves. So, can you?
Hello, I'm Ryan. I'm one of many in the Way to Leaf now. Yeah. We do live streams, and I host a show called WoT Feeling also, which is a monthly show about mental health in real time. So if you don't know the Way to Leaf, just feel free to subscribe. It's super fun. Oh, I'm also usually a puppet.
That's why I didn't recognize it.
No, it's YouTube. YouTube. Yeah. YouTube live streams.
I'm probably the only person who can understand the sentence. I'm usually a puppet. I'm usually a head. Anyway, please.
Hey, I'm Delusions of Grendel. You probably know me from my overly obnoxious voice and comments. Happy to provide. Just a gentle reminder. So Jenny is here in person. Yay. Our friends on the internet do not know that Jenny has anything below the chin. So in the vein of courtesy, if you were to take pictures of the panel while Jenny is speaking, totally fine for your own, I don't know, enjoyment later. I don't want to delve into that. But if you'd like to post something to Twitter, we will just have a second at the end where we're all up here and Jenny can throw her unmasked face on.
Yeah.
So you can take a picture of that and throw that up on Twitter for sure, but let's just kind of be respectful of the glamour of magic.
Basically, she's a superhero with a secret identity. We cannot let anyone see her face, or it's ruined. Everything is ruined.
Everything we work
This
for.
is this beautiful face is
Although
for
this is
us only.
way better than the
Okay. Jesse, please introduce yourself.
I mean, just the hair.
Stop, Jesse.
Hello, everyone. I am Jess, your Amaryllin Seat. I have a YouTube channel, The Amaryllin Study, where I do reaction videos and have posted nothing for like 2 months. But I promise I will do some later. I also have a podcast that I do with Nameless and Recappa Sedai called Parvalin After Dark.
Who's Nameless?
Oh, I'm sorry, DJ. Oh, he's gonna be so mad. And that is Wheel of Time sketch comedy and discussion and news and also fake news. And yeah, it's fun. So check it out or whatever, or don't. I'm not your dad.
There you go. Yes. All right. So I guess let's begin. I'm just going to put this out there. I'm nervous about moderating a panel. So
You're going to be great because I love you.
There we go. Yay. Anyway, so we are going to be discussing relationships in the Wheel of Time. Before we begin, I just want to say, I think because of the topics that we are going to be discussing, has anyone here not finished the books? Yeah. Okay. It is very difficult for us to have this discussion without going full spoilers. So can I ask how far? I saw 3 hands. Okay, how far are you? Book
9.
9.
I see a 9.
Okay. 4. Ooh,
4. Yeah.
Okay. And
we might need to have your friend plug your ears
occasionally. Yeah.
Unless you're open to
Unless you don't care.
Unless you don't care about spoilers. That is a weird choice, but I will respect it. Okay, and were there only 2 people? There was 9.
Book 9, book 5.
Oh, okay.
Book 5. I'm gonna
Let's
do that.
go.
Oh.
I love you all so much. I just wanted to support you. Give you a round of applause.
Thank you.
Okay.
And your wig is fabulous.
He's gonna duck out.
You're fabulous.
This is just a love fest. It's all great. So,
All right.
okay.
That's a spoiler dive. Bye,
Okay.
sweetie.
Thank you. All right. We will try, I guess, we can try and warn about spoilers, but I do apologize.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. All right. Well, then, I guess, are you okay with book 9? Book 9 is, okay. Okay. I think, well, we'll try and warn you when we are getting into spoilers.
All right, real quick, I'm gonna try and turn up the volume for the chat on
Okay.
YouTube. They're saying we're a little quiet.
Okay.
Maybe
We're
this will help
quiet?
you too. We got 15 people on YouTube watching. So
Oh, all right.
Hi
All
guys.
right.
Hello.
Let us know if that fixed it,
I
guys.
don't know where the
Thank you.
camera is. Oh, is that? Okay, I'll put it like
I
that.
can put this in my
Okay.
mouth. Yes. Yeah, you told me about this one.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
There we go.
You're gonna regret this, guys.
What could possibly go wrong?
Okay. Okay. So basically, when we were just talking about this before, we were just trying to decide how to organize this talk. And so one of the first relationships I want to talk about, I'm sure none of you will be surprised, is Maureen and Swan. Yes. So if like I'm sure those of us who have read the books, finished the series, read the prologue, we know, or prologue, the prequel, know that there are some differences between how the relationship was handled in the books versus in the show. I'm actually just gonna pass it. Like, do you have any thoughts on Maureen and Swan? How do you like how it was handled in the show?
So for me, Soiraine was canon from like the moment I read New Spring.
Yeah.
I always try, it's always important to keep sort of like the context of who wrote the thing and when they wrote it, and give them credit where credit is due, but also recognize that things could have been done better. The way that he handled women loving women relationships with the whole pillow friends thing and everything was definitely not ideal. But I guess it's sort of like you tried, star. But the way I look at the show kind of across the board, and certainly with the Swan and Maureen relationship, is that they are taking this opportunity to improve on those things, especially representation wise. I loved the way that they did it. I loved the way that they represented the power dynamic. Obviously Swan is the big boss in front of everybody else, but then the way that they were very much operating as equals when they were in private together, it felt like a very real relationship to me. Just very natural. I thought they did a great job with it.
Yeah.
I did too.
Yeah.
I did too. If I think about like what a modern correlation of this relationship would be, that would be like Joe Biden having an affair with the Pope on the side. Am I right? Like
That's like,
So-
Kinda.
right. These are the most powerful people, right? And they love each other, but they don't feel like they can like make this known. So, and I love how they portrayed it. And again, like, I don't know if everyone knows this, the whole idea, like when they're having their love scene and she went down on her knees, that was an improvised scene.
Yeah.
And that makes
Which
it
was
so fun for me to think about that they improvised that.
That was
Perfect.
fucking
Yes.
But yeah, I loved how they did it. And I think it was one of the more appropriate and like loved changes from the show.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my perspective, not that it isn't as valid, but in terms of representation, it was impactful for me just to see like a positive relationship in Robert Jordan's world. I enjoyed that.
which is why we're here.
Yes.
Has anyone read The Companion or looked up the entries for Swan and Maureen? So
It's painful.
It is one of the things that our dear late Robert
Bob.
good old Bobby. In The Companion, he basically stated that Swan and Maureen were effectively going through a phase, and that like, don't worry, bros, super hetero.
It literally says in The Companion that she wasn't a lesbian.
Yeah,
Like
don't
it
Bi or anything. So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
like maybe a little bit of bi erasure. I can't fully speak to that. I know Jesse has some opinions.
Yeah.
That happy to step back and let you speak to that. So in the show, I am happy to have Rafe make it gayer. I think it's wonderful. Like one, in terms of just the quality of the relationship, what Ryan touched on with the dynamics and the power, and especially what we've seen in the wake of Me Too, and just how those power dynamics can impact anyone who's, below on your knees joke.
Yeah.
But with that power dynamic, it's a really fine line. So what happens when there is love and it's not just an imbalance or it's not an abuse of power? How do you tread that? And I think the show is going to take us there in a really interesting direction that the books never allowed us to go in. So I don't know how far we're going in terms of the male relationships these women later have. But I'm happy to see if the show diverges from that. I'm on board, and I'm really pleased. That's one of the not few things. I'm not here to shit on the show. That's one of the things that I think the show did the very best was Suwon and Moraine.
Yeah, I will say, like, I just spent like 3 weeks with my family, and both of my sisters watched the show. One of them somehow secretly didn't tell me, but it was something that both of them commented on. It's like, oh my god, that relationship, like. That was amazing. It was so deep and beautiful. Like they thought, one of my sisters referred to it like it's the heart of the show, their relationship, which as someone who is, I mean, this is not the queerness and Wheel of Time panel, but as someone who was kind of concerned about where queer representation was going to be in the show, to see it be something that both of my sisters independently were saying that's the center of the show, like their relationship. It was really impactful to me. And you brought up their male relation. This is going to be a bit spoilery, so I do apologize. But both of these, you can plug your ears. Yeah.
Yeah, you're moderating like a champ.
That's right. Yeah. Both of these women in the books have relationships with men later on. I have thoughts, but I am the moderator, so I like to. Anyone have any thoughts per se? Plugged? Okay, good. About Maureen and Tom. Anyone have any thoughts?
You know,
Yeah.
exactly. Like honestly, and I'm doing a reread right now, and through the beginning, when Maureen and Tom were together, I was really looking very closely for like clues. I'm like, okay, well, obviously I missed something. Obviously, I must have missed something because this happened. And no, I truly don't think that I did. I feel like, I mean, I suppose.
You definitely did.
Girl, we are going to have a conversation later because I need to know. But, aside from, like, I just got to the part in Lord of Chaos where Matt is getting ready to deliver the letter that Maureen gave him for Tom. And so it's, I Knuckles Mustache says I missed something. So we're going to have to talk about that. But
all
yeah,
I say is listen to Wheel Takes.
Yeah.
Allie will take you there from like eye of the world.
From Master Bard.
fucking
Master
incredible.
Bard and that knee touch in the Stone of Tears.
But I will say, if we are calling out Allie missed Lan and Nynaeve, and that is, I don't
Like, how is
understand.
that? Wow.
I don't understand.
Well, she was probably too busy figuring out Tom and
Yes,
Maureen.
exactly. Yes.
It wasn't subtle enough for her to pick up on. It was, low.
There's a couple times whenever Tom referred to Maureen as a fine woman.
Yes.
Wow, she's hot. But like,
I will, because there is stuff there.
yeah.
I can see it when I reread,
It's-
but they're not in love. You cannot convince me that they are.
No, they're sort of like flirting, like, yeah, I'd hit it, but yeah. But I suppose. So then that would she's
Yeah.
hot.
All right, well, that's all right. So,
Yeah.
in terms of like relationship dynamics,
Mhm.
I think we see it, but we see it only through Tom's perspective,
I possibly, yeah.
and a little bit in like in Winners in the Eye of the World when she chuckles when he like flourishes his knives and
Yeah.
she's like impressed. That's through Rand's perspective,
Wanna
I
see my real
believe.
balls?
But if we
Is
think
any
about,
children here? Sorry.
Not at this
I
call.
mean, Moraine is the master secret keeper of all secret keepers. We've never met anybody who she's trying to save the world and keep the biggest secret ever. So why would it be obvious? Why would it be anything but this?
Well,
That's
you
what I
also have
loved about it.
You also have to consider that you are dealing with two people who are experts at playing the game of houses.
Yeah.
Like, I absolutely believe that they knew each other previous
Oh,
to
I do
to
too.
meeting
no way
each
they could have
other
run
I do too.
in Emmons Field. No, there's absolutely no way. And if you think about the context of the game of houses, this is completely off topic, I think, relationship-wise. But, if you look at the way they interact for the very first time and the very specific things that they say to each other, yeah, they 100% knew each other. So I think that there's probably also foundation there that we don't know about because it
Possible,
happened
yeah.
off screen. So,
Mhm.
I will.
Camille has some thoughts.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Do you think she knew he killed Rosa?
Do you think she knew what?
That he killed her brother.
Maybe she hired him.
I was
I
gonna
mean,
say,
maybe she did.
Maureen was
maybe
not a
she did.
fan of her brothers. So, yeah.
They're
Yes.
gonna end up in marriage counseling over that one because
Yeah.
that's a problem.
Some of my 40s, I might be speaking out of turn here, but when you're in your like late 60s, 70s, like both of them are, maybe hookups just they don't take that much.
It's sense of smell, just pheromones, old people pheromones back and
That's
forth.
old people pheromones. Okay, I do want to move on to the other half of that couple, Swan and Gareth.
You know what? There's a part of me that ships it, and there is a part of me that doesn't like their dynamic. Because if we're talking about power dynamics, like
Yeah.
Gareth is definitely the person who is in a position of power in that pairing, and like I don't want to say that he is abusing that position necessarily, because I think a lot of what he does, he's doing
Yeah.
it because
I
he
hadn't
wants
thought
to
about
get
that.
her goat. Like he knows that it fucking bothers her, and so he's just sort of like
Yeah, he's playing the long game.
He's
yeah.
I
So
Like,
but
he's-
I have a lot of opinions about what happens to
Yeah.
women in the
I was gonna
books
bring this up.
and how they need to be humbled
Mhm.
in order for balance to be restored. So that, and I'm going full spoilers to the end of the books in this moment.
yeah.
Thank you. Good job.
If we talk about female chosen, what happens to them? They are raped, they are tortured, and they are kept alive to live in their punishment and suffer for the consequences of the audacity of being what should have been nameless. I mean, we're talking Grendel here.
no bias.
And
Sorry,
we're,
what's your name? yeah. Continue.
that's what happens to the female chosen. The men just get to die. They get to have
Did you say
epic
chosen?
battles. They get to, I don't know, scream in a field of flowers and like demand that another man come and like dance with them. And then they get to like die, and they die hard. And
Yeah,
it's
they die in
good.
battle.
They
They
die
die
in battle.
valiantly. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
So I have issues with how women are handled in the series because they need to be taken down a peg.
Yeah.
And that is what more on rereads aggravates me to no end. So with Suwan, she had to lose power in order
Thank
to
you.
find love. Moraine had to
That's
marry
what I was
a
gonna say.
man. It's all about, if I can use a word that you coined, dickmatized.
That's
for sure.
yeah.
Well,
that
and
is. Oh, sorry.
oh, I was gonna say, I that's a really excellent observation, and it makes me think of sort of the way that you see a lot of it on the internet where people are sharing their experiences with like dating apps and things like that, and the way that men behave when they are rejected and things of that nature, and you're so stuck up and blah blah blah, and it's like, okay, well, if I am too much for you, find less. Like, you need to be more. If you think that I'm too much, you need to be more to be with me. Like, like, why don't you punch up, rise to the occasion? Don't make me be less.
Yeah.
And I feel like it really ties into that whole idea that like, this is all there is, so we have to settle for it. Like,
Patriarchy.
yeah, am I right?
Because that is
Hey,
my-
speaking of that, I'm taking the mic. Just kidding. Just kidding. No, it is. I lost my train of thought because of the joke, but no,
I had a nickel.
it's a double like disappointment, because it's one of the few relationships that we see build over a long period of time. A lot of these relationships happen like high school, and like you're booming over together. Oh, you love me, and it feels like high school. But this is one that there's several. Only a couple I can think of, like Pravara and Andrew. You get to see that develop over time, and Swan and Gareth. You get to see it slowly. It's disappointing that it's ending up in this thing.
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot. I didn't think of it in this framework. I thought this is how we're developing make Swan way more complicated as a character, because she was the most powerful human being in all of the world. But once you compare it to all the things that are going on with the Forsaken, I'm seeing the trend, and I'll look for it in my rereads. I didn't even notice that before. Thank you.
Well, there's an issue I like with these relationships: Moraine and Tom, Swan and Gareth, and I'm also just going to throw in Morgase and Talon.
Oh, your fave.
Yeah, my favorite.
We just call it Fedora.
Yeah. Anyway, my lady. Anyway, where women lose power and are rewarded with a man, and it pisses me off every single like. I'm sorry, like that's not.
Yeah.
It's not a consolation prize,
And
for
it's
me.
not a reward.
Like it's not a reward.
We are burdens.
It felt.
We're annoying.
I don't mean that to say that, but because it's just it happens. It's 3 times. It's
Yeah.
3 times that a woman is like with
Yeah, it's not a fluke.
drained of their power.
Yeah.
And then but it's okay. You have a man.
Here's the dick.
Here's a dick.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that it isn't necessarily wrong for that to happen because you also have to consider that.
Are we
You
still
know-
in spoiler talk? I just want to be careful.
Yeah.
Are we still spoilers?
I think.
Yeah, I
that,
think
yes,
we're
this
Okay,
one
keep
is,
going.
this
Keep
one
it
is.
in.
The
You're
next
doing
topic.
good.
Yeah.
I'll let you when I go like this.
I think that when you look at a woman like Morgaze or a woman like Moraine or a woman like Swan who are in positions of power and they have like a fucking mission. They've got things to do. And so then once they do lose that power, there's maybe more room in their life for a relationship, which is completely valid. But I think the crux of it is how does the partner like interact with them? What is the dynamic of that relationship? And I feel like if you want to make something like that work and make it so that it isn't, all right, well, you aren't powerful anymore, so now you just have to settle for this shit, is you need to have the partner, the man, like help them find their power again, whatever that looks like, whether it's like supporting Swan once she got healed or saying, yeah, you know what, you might not be the Emerald
Not
Sea anymore.
spanking her over the
Yeah,
laundry.
right over the fucking laundry. Like, what the fuck is that? So, it's and then Grendel died.
The spanking.
It's just like
Different topic, different
whole
panel.
different channel. But there are ways that these men could be supportive partners to these formerly powerful women to help them find their power again, help them find their power in a different way. Like Bryn could have been like, you know what, I'm not going to make you wash my fucking shirts anymore because you are like this brilliant fucking strategic mind and you have so much more than you can offer than washing a fucking shirt. Like that would be a dynamic that would be good and healthy and like does that make sense? You know what I mean?
Like helping through trauma, great way to take the relationship.
Wonderful.
Great for you taking notes.
Yes. The other thing I would get that is an issue for me is not any one of those, except for Morgaze and Talibor, any one of them, I would actually be like, oh, okay, but it's a pattern. It is a pattern, and you don't see men getting drained of their power being rewarded with a lady. Like it's okay.
I mean,
so
Glad,
women,
spoilers.
yeah, okay, I see what I
Glad lose
see.
an
Yeah,
arm and gains barrel aid.
which is okay.
Which,
Yeah. Sorry.
No.
well, I
But
mean,
he
I guess
loses
it depends
he
on
loses
what you
a
mean
hand.
by power.
Yeah.
So I have a quick question.
Which arm?
Yes.
And again, I am not. I want to preface by saying I'm not blaming Swan for what Bryn was doing, but did he not offer to let her off the debt? And Swan was kind of stubborn about the whole thing and
Of course.
refused to not
Yes.
let it go.
Yeah, I think so, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Well,
I think
that's one of the ways you could tell that she's attracted to him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
well, and I think also it was the context, if I'm remembering correctly, and I should because I am very close to this part of the book. I think it's the context of the way he offered it. I think that if he had said, I understand that we've had a bargain, but now I know who you are, and I understand that you have more to offer, and this is less important than what you could be doing. Like if he said, I'm going to let you off the hook because you deserve more, like it would be different than just being like, well, I'll let you not do it if you don't want to. Swan is a woman of honor, right? So
Yeah.
she's not gonna be like, I'm not just gonna walk away because you said I could. That's stupid,
I got a question. Do you think actually, I think you're good.
Yeah.
Right now, I think you're good. I'm really focused on her.
Yeah.
I want her to be happy.
Yes.
I think you're good. When she made the oath, do you think that was like her like horniness, or is it like what was going on when she was it right at that moment there she loved him in a Robert Jordan way, like how
I
he
think
does
she
it?
was flirting with being able to lie.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
testing that through, right? Like she
okay.
had just been freed of her oath. And
Oh,
she was like,
interesting.
I am going to I don't have to skirt around this. I'm just gonna
I'm just gonna
straight up
fucking
lie.
Which is
Well
crazy.
done.
So like which is such a negative implication.
Yeah.
Like the three of us are nothing. Like, and they would just be doing. Anyways, fun.
Okay, I do want to move on to the next relationship. I don't know how to call this one, but in my notes I have it written down as Rand and his ladies.
That's real quick. We have a question from
Oh,
chat.
there's a question in chat.
We have a question from chat, and let's bring them all in. Brandon Swan, did Swan force Gareth to treat her poor? Oh my gosh,
Sorry.
Okay.
that was the question.
Okay. I see. Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, what was-
I'm on it. I see a question. Hey, anyone in chat, give a question. We'll answer it.
Okay. So
So what was the question?
oh, I haven't asked the question yet.
Yeah,
Oh.
we're moving on.
Yeah, we're moving on to the next
Okay.
next topic. So, in order to talk about Rand's relationship, I don't know what to call it.
What
The-
does
the-
the Kappa call them? His harem?
harem? Rand,
I mean, yeah, it's
harem,
kind of like a
yeah.
harem, isn't it?
It is kind of a harem.
No, harem. All right. I mean, okay. This is fun. This is let's talk about
interesting.
that.
Well, I don't know. It's a harem fantasy. Like it's that anyway. But one of the ways we thought to organize it is just go through and talk about each of like his relationship with
Okay,
each
yeah.
of the women separately. So, in order, let's begin with Elaine. Does anyone have any thought? That came
Of
in
all
fast.
of them, like
Interesting.
that seemed the most Tabaran pull, just like magical thing. They had less screen time of all of them,
Oh, absolutely.
and it seems, and I see how she fits. I see what she gives him. I see how in totality he needed all three and all that. But like in terms of like believability, done.
See,
We have a question.
Because I was gonna say I'm opposite.
I
as
think
well,
I
yeah.
ignited this guy in the back. What do you have to say?
My question would be, is this a harem situation, or is it more a admittedly flawed instance of polyamory? Because I wouldn't put any Rand in charge of any one of those three who
Yeah.
I would put the person in charge of name because it allows that. But Rand isn't running Elaine's decision.
Yeah.
Certainly isn't running Avianda's decision.
Jenny has some
Yeah, but-
brilliant
Yeah.
comments to make about Elaine and Avienda.
Yeah.
This question
So-
will be answered.
Yeah.
Well,
Good job, good job,
have
good.
a take on this as well, that it's not a polyamory kind of situation because Elaine and Avienda, I believe, are a thing, but it is not canon. And so what we have is we have one man with three wives.
Yeah, it's
That's
polygamy, if anything. Yeah.
which is gross. And so
Yeah.
yeah, I think that it is a harem situation. Like, the
Yeah.
savior of the world is rewarded with three women.
Yeah, I got
Which is
the reason I say harem fantasy is like he's written it to try and make it that everybody's happy about this.
Yeah.
But it's a situation where one man has three women. They don't get any extra. None of them.
Well, and
Like they just have him.
and the idea,
Right.
and the whole idea of it being sort of like, it was in Min's vision, so it's inevitable. It was like their autonomy in the situation is not existed. They don't have the choice. Like it's fated or whatever that they're gonna all fall in love with Rand and they just all have to deal with it. And it's like they didn't have a choice in the matter. They didn't enter into this arrangement willingly, not really. Like they accepted it because they had to, but they weren't like, yeah, I think this is great.
It's like a
Yeah.
1970s sitcom, like,
Yeah,
we all just get along.
To follow up on your thought, and I will answer your question in a second. You said that the reason, what she's just saying about them not having autonomy is the one reason that I actually believe Elaine and Rand's relationship more than I believe the other two, because Elaine had no preconceived anything. She just fell for the hot guy who fell in her garden. And so that feels normal and she
Instantly, which is definitely a thing that happens.
Yeah, well, it's I can
When
see
you're
that.
like, I am 16.
Yeah, like
Going on 17.
I was gonna say, not only is she, she's also probably been very sheltered, right? So he's a hot commoner who felt like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna quote Bree here. This is pretty like it's a romance trope. A hot commoner fell into the garden of a princess. She like
Let's go!
pretty much, yeah. Like, not that I think that their relationship is deep, because they do have very little.
Deep, right?
Yeah.
Oh!
Like they do have very.
It
little
feels like Elon Musk, like and another executive just talking it out. Like
I feel like I understand why they fell for each other.
Uh,
Whereas with the other two, Min didn't want to. Like she flat out says, I don't want to be in love with you. Avienda fucking fought it for so long and couldn't. Like both of them fought the Taviran as hard as they could. Whereas
Oh,
Elaine
so-
was just like, he's hot, he's tall.
all right, so
All right.
But also,
oh wait.
RESPECT, let's have Elaine and Rand get their minds together. Like when they go and they talk politics.
Oh no, it was
they talk
amazing. It was amazing.
strategy,
Sexiest scene in the books. Yeah, yeah.
It gets me.
It was sexier than the igloo for
Days
sure.
in the books. It's like 3 days.
But like, okay, so you just shocked me. I had a point, and then you say something. I'm like, God damn it, it's better than my point.
What I've been enjoying about that whole dynamic is that, like, this whole time Rand's not like, oh yeah, I'm the man. I got these 3 women there. He's like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah, knows about women. Whoa.
All right, so,
I think
yeah.
that's the other thing that sucks about it too, is that Rand doesn't have any autonomy in the situation either. He's just like, all right, well now I've got 3 women. What the fuck am I supposed to do with this? They're nuts. Like,
All right.
I'm pretty sure Avienda wants to kill me. Min is just
well,
like
you can
super
go
sad all
for
the
it.
time, and Elaine is, I don't even know where the fuck she is. Like, it's yeah.
Well-
I think out of the 3, Elaine was the most Taviran one.
He literally-
Actually, so this is the question.
If I have to go on that ball, happens to have, fall in. The rest were they were put into situations. That was just.
All right, so this is the question. Like, are we saying Taverin is selective? Are we saying all of his relationships are Taverin? Are
Oh,
we
yeah.
saying
It's the
there's no
pattern.
love there?
Yeah, I think that there's
There's
all
no
the
love. What's going on?
my opinion is all the relationships are Taviran, but the one that I believe, like the one that feels the most natural is Elaine to me. Is Elaine and Rand, because neither of them knew. Neither of them fought it. They just fell in love like normal human beings.
Yeah,
Whereas
like
the other ones.
I
In
mean,
5
Rand
seconds.
didn't even at that
In
point.
a
Rand
5
didn't even.
second.
It's high school. That's it. They fell in horny. Like they fell in horny. Like,
Rand was the hot guy in her algebra class.
Yeah.
And she asked him to prom, and the rest is history.
Yeah. Okay, so you had your hand up for a while.
I just wanted to expand on what you were saying about this isn't polyamory, it's polygamy. As someone who's spent time in polyamorous circles, what could qualify it as polyamory, and I would like to see as a show, and I believe Rafe has made some comments that he intends, if not with this relationship, we assume with this relationship, but in general, is if they had conversations about this, if any of the women were of the understanding this was an open relationship and they could see other people,
Mhm.
if any of them did ever have another boyfriend, like it
Yeah.
went out of its way to establish that, to be fair, Rand was also a virgin, but it went out of their way to establish all 3 women were virgins, even where it didn't necessarily make
Mhm.
sense. I'm not sure.
Like
Yeah.
Min, who
Like
loves
Min.
older men and is
Min.
26 and living her best life.
I don't think it made.
I somehow memory hold that.
Avienda also to not have been a virgin.
Yeah.
She's a little bit younger, so I'll take it. But and also, yeah, I know not everyone ships Elaine and Avienda, but one of them makes Terra Real, and the other one reads them.
Yeah.
They're
Mhm.
a power couple.
Yes. Yeah.
Great point.
Yes. That works. That works.
Yeah.
Yeah. I now
Sisters.
I do have thoughts. I do have thoughts on this. She knows the thoughts. I think actually we were on a debate about these thoughts of mine about Abby and Elaine. I never shipped them in the books, largely because of the fact that they had a Winter's Heart.
Yes,
Sisters. Yeah. Okay.
Prologue
They had a
Winter's
first
Heart.
sister ceremony in Winter's Heart, so they are technically first sisters, and they don't in the IO culture, from what we understand, they aren't like couples don't call each other sisters. So they're sisters, and that creeps me out. Like it's just I don't have that kink, and no kink shaming, but no. And,
For sure.
yeah, but-
Elaine and Chia might have been.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like Bane and
Oh,
Chiat are another example.
well, because the first sister ceremony, they literally go back into the womb. Like it's not a case of like.
Please, let's not
Yeah.
talk about giving.
I don't remember getting slapped in the womb.
Yeah.
I don't remember getting slapped in the womb.
But that's part of anyway. But that's not the. That's actually not
I
my
might have been,
main.
but I don't know.
That's not my main issue with it. My main issue with Abby and Elaine being a couple is that being a couple within this is that by virtue of who he is, Rand is the most important person in the world. So Abby and Elaine would by definition be secondary. Like they can't, just the way the world is written, their relationship would be secondary. That's like, I was actually nervous that that was what the show was going to do, was going to make them like, this is going to be the positive queer ladies in the show. And I'm much, much less worried about it now because actually that's soiree. So kind of, if they do it, I won't be as worried. It won't bother me as much. But
it's also like the male gaze.
I was just
right?
that's the other thing I was going to say. It doesn't like, because people will say that to me like, oh, it's not male gazy. It is. It's more male gazy. And I've said this before, so I guess I'll say it again. I've literally had straight guys come up to me and ask me to sleep with their wives. And they don't want to be there. Like it's just the idea of it. It's they think of think of women and women together as less than. It's not cheating, right? Like when you were talking about polyamory and saying if they had other boyfriends, I was like, yes. Weird for me, gold star lesbian who'd say yes. Avienda should be getting dick on the side. Like that would make me happy. That would I'd be like, yes. That would be like yes.
There is gold.
Yeah.
It's 55 minutes in the panel. We get to the crux of it.
Yes. Then I would be like, yeah, because that would make it less of a male fantasy.
And also say, I don't see them as a trio. I see Avienda and Elaine as a separate couple who to me are a much stronger couple than either of them with Rand.
Yeah.
You know, Rand feels like he
No,
comes because he's
340.
so important.
Yeah.
340.
No, I feel that too. I feel the same way.
And I don't know if that
340.
changes the dynamic if they're a separate couple. They're not a trio.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
Ty personally.
Mm.
Yeah. We're all headcanoning. We're all headcanoning this. We've talked a bit. Does anyone have any thoughts about men?
Men in
Has anyone not heard me scream about this topic?
All right, scream away. Let's do this.
I'm just gonna take a quick poll.
drum roll.
Whose favorite relationship of Rand and his harem is Rand and Min? Put your hands up. Own it. Yeah. I see a lot of cishet white males in the room. That makes sense to me.
Please not play.
Yeah.
Screen time, for sure. So my problem with Min is I started reading the series when I was 11 years old, and an aggressive, I guess, I don't know if tomboy is still appropriate, but like basically I grew up with two brothers and I kicked their ass. So I grew up loving Min. Min was my girl. She was everything. She was independent. She wore pants. She was living her life the way she wanted to. She liked working in the stable. She liked working with the horses. She liked being a little bit, I don't know, not career driven, but like she had autonomy. She had knives that she used. When she sits on Rand's lap in Lord of Chaos, Crown of Swords, my entire being broke. She broke me because she betrayed me. She decided that the dick was more important than anything else. And yes, we can talk about headcanon and emotional support and all of that stuff, but her point of view has changed. We don't see what she does in the on page. We don't see her solve spoilers. We don't see her figure out what Herod had found out with Kalendor, right? We don't see that. We see Rand being like, hey, Minnie, I see you reading over there. I'm going to take what you did, and I'm going to take credit for everything. It annoys the crap out of me. She is a prop to his success. And yes, you can have relationships where like one person takes a back seat for a while to build another person up. But that person still needs to have their own ambitions, their own goals. And Milne shelves all of that for a man. And like, I know that doesn't get everyone going, but it grinds my gears.
All right. Well, counterpoint. All right. I've not even heard this argument once. It's the first time I've heard this. Counterpoint is, Min was working in at an inn.
Yeah. Are we job shaming?
No. But like she, like you're giving her like this like importance. Like she was literally an innkeeper.
She
Like
wanted
she was not an innkeeper. She
the
was
point is, it doesn't matter what she was doing. The
No,
point
I
is
get
She was
that.
doing what the fuck she wanted to do.
I get that.
Like
I
it could
get
have been
that.
anything.
So what? So you're assuming that she's not getting her needs met by doing what she's doing with Rand, and I don't think that's respectful to Min. She might be getting her needs met. Her love language might be sitting on laps.
Yeah, but you want to
Maybe
know
that's
what?
her fucking kink.
On the elusive
The
I
thing
mean,
is
she's
that
one of the most
you're-
important women in the whole. I mean,
I'm here for the headcanons of men. I am
Yeah.
here for Kay Alexander actually being able to pick up a knife and throw it and hit someone instead of just constantly
I'm just gonna
having
say.
knives taken away from her.
I'm just gonna say I'm here for Kay Alexander. Just putting that out there on the
Just
internet.
like Carrie at
on the internet. Thank you.
Min changes herself for Rand.
It is actually.
Yeah.
Changes himself at all for her. Nope.
Nope.
No.
Absolutely
It's-
fucking not. Well, and you
Yeah.
want to know what? I have gotten a lot of guff for using the sexy lamp comparison. Neil Gaiman put this forth at one point where a problem with the way that women are frequently written is that they are a sexy lamp. They don't actually provide, they don't have any actual purpose except to be there
shine the light
and
on
be
the
a
man
woman.
in their lives.
And like she's basically a prop. And I feel the same way that you do, that Min starting out was great. I loved her. Like just out there living her best life, doing what the fuck she wanted to do, probably fucking if she felt like doing it, because why the hell not? Like all of that shit. And then she gets into this relationship with Rand. She gets like to him and like stigmatized. Like everything was Rand. And you know, again, going back to the whole vision, fate, whatever, like that wasn't an autonomous decision that she made either, which sucks for her. And I am not, and I want to make sure that it's clear that I'm not dunking on Min. Min did dirty.
Yeah.
Min deserves better. than
I
what
hear
she
that.
got.
Yeah, here.
Min deserves fucking better.
Give
Yeah.
me all your headcanons on men. Give
So-
me all the off the page men.
Yeah.
Give me like men being a badass and knowing like so much more. I'm here for all
I
of
mean,
that
her-
when I go.
Hey, spoiler earplugs. I mean, what she did with Matt in the very end, like she changed everything. Like
Yeah.
she's so important. I don't want to disrespect her for her choice to just sit on this dude's lap. Like she did many more. I agree that we needed more screen time
Yeah.
with all the things that she did to like.
I'm gonna say I am gonna disrespect her for sitting on his lap because it
Damn
was
it.
bloody sexual harassment. I mean, she was grinding on his lap during business meetings. Like
It's very
Good
unprofessional.
choice. Wait, he didn't tell her to do that.
It was not his. Like it was like it's that's one of those things. If you reverse the genders, it becomes no, you don't
Okay,
do that.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
really,
you don't
that
do
should
that.
be if there's
You don't do
any
that.
like behavior that a woman is
Yeah, I
doing
saw
a
that.
thing, and you feel like that thing is okay, and other people are saying that that thing is not okay. You want to understand it.
Yeah.
Reverse the genders. Make it so that it is a man doing it to a woman, and if it is not okay if a man does it to a woman, it's not
It's
okay for a
insane,
woman
yeah.
to do it to a man.
Yeah,
Like women aren't off the hook for shit like that just because they're women.
yeah. Sorry, there was a hand in the back. Yes.
Hi, Ash.
Oh, I
Yay!
can't see. Yes.
I just want to, because we keep going back to the prophecy and like
Yeah.
saying that they're not fall in love with each other. But prophecy never said they lose their agency. It just says they fall in love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a choice for Robert Jordan to write that falling in love means you sacrifice
Your
everything else.
agency.
And that's obviously the reason why I can understand why Elaine seems like the most reasonable relationship out of the three.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't sacrifice shit.
That's true.
No, she does not.
Then I'm gonna spoilers.
We're gonna own them. We're
I'm
gonna
going
spoil
in
it.
my country. I'm gonna get the babies I want.
I'm gonna take a bath.
I'll bet. Okay, so there's you had a question?
I did, and now I'm
Okay.
sitting on the lap thing.
Yeah.
As someone who enjoys sitting on things laps, I agree. The problem is that she's doing it during business meetings.
And she
can
like
still be
yeah.
a badass and sit on a gas lamp.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If there was a 10-foot lap I could sit in, I would sit in that. I'm just 6'7" and I can't get in any laps. Like if give me a lap, I'll curl up in it. No, well, it's tiny. She's tiny. We work shit out.
Sorry. Yes.
Oh,
Sorry, I was yes.
Oh,
I was like, wow. I was so confused.
Going back to the whole thing about, maybe you switch the genders and see
Yeah.
what the mess of something is. Not entirely.
Oh
Yes!
yeah.
Oh,
100%.
That's honest to God. That's his whole.
That's a whole other. That's a whole
That's a whole
pack.
panel.
That could be a whole panel.
Everyone here is in agreement.
100%. That was rape. Anyway, continue. Yeah.
I always found it odd that Min was in this relationship with Rand, but yet she got flustered and kind of blushed at the fact that Harry Fell called her pretty.
Yeah.
Like nobody else was calling her pretty, which I thought was weird because she was in a relationship with Rand, and you would think that was going on, but it was that.
Yeah, Rand's got no game.
Well,
Rand's got no game. He can't make his lady.
Oh, sorry, we almost
Well,
started
and
talking.
I think what that really kind of arrows in on is the fact that in that relationship, the dynamic between Min and Rand is that Min gave and gave and gave and gave and gave. She did a massive amount of emotional labor and she got nothing back from him. She got nothing back from him. And you want to know what? Look, he was going like mental illness, like up the wazoo, and he had all of this pressure on him and shit like that. So he was likely not capable of giving her that, which is fine. But at that point, you need to say, I am not capable of giving you what you need. This is not a relationship that either of us should be in. Like, that is so unhealthy.
But Jesse, although to argue against you, she understands that Rand is integral to saving the entire world. And what would you do to if you're not fated to save the world, but you're related to someone who is? What would you do to help save the world? Would you acquiesce to that? Would you give that, or like, would you morph yourself to make sure that this person who's got to save the entire world is like, it's not about your, I mean, like, that's my thing is happening. I think the Min's special because she sees the future.
Yeah, but
And
this
she's
comes down
been able
like,
to-
Is this a
yeah.
relationship of equals?
She's
at
making
this
choices
moment?
because she sees the future, not because she's in love. She sees the future. She sees her part. So I think that
then what she needs to do is she needs to work with him in the capacity of an advisor, and there needs to not be a romantic aspect to that relationship because when you are in a romantic relationship with another person, it needs to be a 100% thing. If you are in a dynamic where one person is giving all of the emotional support and the other person is taking it and giving nothing back, that is unhealthy, toxic, abusive, bad. Now, if her whole thing is she sees the future and she knows that he needs to save the world and she's going to help him do that, then she needs to do that in a way that isn't romantic or sexual or anything like that. If you're going to be an advisor and go fuck somebody else. Because, like, once you start mixing romance and everything else into it, it becomes toxic very, very quickly. And to your question about what I would do in that situation, yes, saving the world is very, very important, but also I'm important.
of course.
You know what? I deserve emotional support. I deserve the things that I need. Like, those needs do not become less important because Rand needs to save the world. And in point of fact, if I'm supposed to be a support person for him, I have to have my needs met because otherwise I'm going to burn out. I'm not going to have the capacity to do what I need to do to help him.
Okay. I see a lot of hands. I am going to say.
This is a great discussion.
Yeah, but I would like to move on to the next because there's another relationship I want to talk about, and we are going to run out of time. And this other relationship I want to talk about is probably the most volatile, most contentious relationship in the books. And when we were talking about this before, we realized all of us have unique takes on this particular relationship. That basically, I'm just going to say this. Perrin and Fail. Ryan, go.
Oh, I love it. My favorite relationship.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
I said we all have very unique takes on this.
I think Perrin and Fail is an examination of cross-cultural relationships come together, and I think it was well done. I think that the unsaid and the misunderstandings are absolutely normal when you're trying to cross culture, and I wish like Vance was here or someone who was living this out could talk about it because I feel like they might be able to relate to this better. I think it is, regardless of his like smelling. I think she composes herself great the entire time. She's the most composed, put together. She never loses her shit, but we think she's losing her shit because he smells her losing her shit, but she never does, which is I think is I'm losing my shit right now. I'm in front of people. Like, if you guys were Perrin, you'd smell the fear, like, right? But like, you would. How can you judge me for that? Like, I'm pulling it together, and she pulls it together every step of the way, and I love them, and I love your video, and I love everything about their relationship. Maybe it is a little long, but like, if Case and I was captured, like, I'm I'm unreadable. Like I'm unreachable. I will only be getting her back no matter what. It doesn't matter. I'm sorry if the world's falling apart. Case is gone. I need to get her. Like I relate to that so much. So that I think Swan and Maureen is a great relationship. Perrin and Fayo is a great relationship in terms of developing it. It feels real and it's satisfying results, right? In the end. So that's how I feel. Yeah.
Because as they emotionally mature together, they become a lot more suited as far as, rounding out each other's weaknesses. Like he's a lot more grounded than she is. And like he kind of like pulls her back from flying off sometimes and she kind of gives him that spark to it that really get him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess in Masana, I don't know where we're at. Book 9.
Yeah,
Her taking out Masana on her own was a little weird because it really messed him up. And I thought that might have been a mistake of her, like trying to like whatever, and in terms of their dynamics. But in terms of how they treat each other, I'm fine with it.
I will say, like, to your point of their relationship, it's weird. I have a dual issue with that, where I very much believe that they're in love. Like their wedding makes me cry every single time. That letter he writes to her.
Oh God, yeah, it's so beautiful.
Sobbing like a baby every single time.
Yeah.
My issue, my take, and some of you may have seen my video on this in their relationship, is he's an empath. He's become an empath, and he is not told her that he's an empath. Now, to be fair to Perry, my headcanon, he doesn't quite realize it. This is something that's sort of crept on him gradually, and he's thinking that all of these emotions that he's aware of are just public knowledge. So he's treating them like public knowledge, and he's reacting to her emotions that she doesn't know he's reacting to.
So what I'm hearing you say is that there are characters in the Wheel of Time who are poor communicators.
Oh, yeah. What? In my Wheel of Time?
I, for one, refuse to believe it.
Yeah, but like there's an instance earlier on, for example, when Berylene comes out of a room and she's smelling of fear, and then Fayo gets really, really mad at him and really, really jealous. When you actually pay attention to what happened and try and imagine this from Fayo's perspective, what just happened is a half-naked woman walked out of a room and her husband went, "What?"
Male gaze.
That's what just happened. But when you read it, what happens is, oh, he's smelling her fear and is like, why is she so scared? Like, looking at it from her perspective, it's absolutely like any woman would be like, hey, why are you staring at the naked lady? Like, stop it.
I'm right here.
I'm right here.
You described that meme with people walking.
Yep.
That's exactly what happened. And everybody goes, whoa, she's so jealous. No, that's a normal human reaction. And there are moments where she does do things, but I'm listening to Wheel Takes, and half of the time they're getting frustrated with Fayo being jealous. She's done something. The other half of the time they're getting frustrated with Fayo being jealous. She hasn't done anything. Fayo's just had a feeling, and we're seeing it from parents' perspective, and parents being like, why? And Fayo's now just looking at her husband going, why is he acting weird? Like, I didn't do or say anything, and her husband's acting weird. And so that's the dynamic I see in their relationship. And I said, to be fair to Perrin, I don't know that he knows what he's doing, but he is reading her emotions and reacting to her emotions like they're actions, and they're not. And that is a horrifying dynamic. And S, is that you?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
It is me. I was going to say that it's very akin to having a parent read your diary as a child and react to that.
Yeah.
Rather than communicating directly with you.
Yes.
And he's reacting very much on things that no one else knows, no one else understands. And it gets to a point where it's like, at what point you're going to communicate that you're essentially looking into her mind.
Yeah.
Because I have we all have random emotions all the time. Someone says something.
All the time.
And you have that little bit of an ice when it goes away.
Yeah.
Imagine if you smelled that off me and you're like, what's she a bitch?
Yeah, but the question is, how does Perrin handle it?
Well, I don't think I honestly don't think he knows. The reason I do that because there's a point where he tells her everything. Like, he tells her about
Which is an amazing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
The
scene.
best
But
scene.
he leaves that out, and I don't think he does it intentionally. I just think like
He leaves smelling the emotions out.
Yeah, he doesn't say it. He doesn't say it. So I don't think it's on purpose. I don't think he's like, oh, I'm going to keep this secret. I just think it's a case of I didn't know that this was a secret.
At the same time, too, that kind of becomes the filter which he perceives the world.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, it's not like he's purposely, trying to suss out her emotions.
No, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think it's on purpose. I don't think. I don't think he's hiding it from her. I
Yeah,
think he doesn't.
it
know.
feels like a burden.
Yeah, I think he honestly, in my
Yeah.
head canon, I think he honestly doesn't realize that what he's reacting to
Yeah.
isn't public knowledge.
Yeah.
Like it's because his smell got like no other. His seeing gets better, but other people can see, and he's not seeing anything that isn't there. His hearing gets better, and he's not hearing anything that isn't there. His smelling gets better, and suddenly he has an ability that other people don't have. And so it's like it's an unusual thing.
And it's also accurate.
Yeah, it's
And that's what's
100%.
it's surprisingly accurate.
Yeah.
As an like I'm an empathic person. If I'm like engaging with someone and something very subtly, a micro expression happens,
Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable.
Because you.
But I
got
don't
it.
know what's happening. I'm like, I have to suss it out. I work it out. I'm like, oh, did I do something?
Yeah.
Parents like accurate.
Okay, I'm just catching the time,
Yeah.
and I want to make sure because that was my take. That was Ryan's take. We all have takes.
Okay, go.
What
Yeah.
is your take?
So
on
I'm going
fire?
to leave the abuse to Jesse. So my issue with Perrin is he's one of my least favorite characters in the books, and I know a lot of people relate to him, and that's cool and everything. But I see him as a huge misogynist who constantly says like, I don't want to use my size and like my power and like my brute strength, and then he literally picks up I'm 5'10". I do not weigh what Leanna weighs, but I'm 5'10". If a man physically picked me up without bending his knees to move me, do you know how hard he would have to grip you? That is such an overt expression of power over it is domination over a woman to say, I can do this to you. And yes, I know she can channel, and she could have moved him with the power, but she did not. He picked her up and he physically moved her out of the way, and it is not the first time, it is the first time, it's not the last time he does that to another woman. He moves people out of his way when he is trying to make a point, and instead of using his words, back to the poor communication, instead of using his words, he uses the things that he hides behind, that he ambles, that he hides behind his big size. He uses that and he weaponizes it against women. And yes, I'm being very melodramatic in my words. I appreciate that.
I'm still
trying to get my point out as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Perrin annoys the crap out of me. I love Fael. I think Fael is a badass, and I think she's done dirty because we only see her through the male gaze of someone who overexerts his power. So Fael, yes, I am here for their relationship because she challenges him, and hopefully she has gotten him to come back on a couple of things. But that being said, Fael and Perrin's dynamic with respect to power is an interesting one, and there is an event that occurs in the ways.
Yes.
While they are traveling.
Slappy.
Spanky. Both. Yeah. Go ahead, Jesse.
So I like Fael a lot. I think she's stone cold badass. I think that Perrin and Fael's relationship fucking sucks. I hate it. It's toxic. It's abusive. And I will not be taking questions at this time. That's all I have to say.
Love it.
All right. Well, we have about we have 2 minutes. I did want to just go over, and because we only have 2 minutes, I think I'm just going to ask favorite relationship, least favorite relationship in the books, Ryan.
Least favorite is Elaine and Rand. Favorite is I want to say Julian and Tom.
Oh,
wow,
that's nice.
That is
all the scenes I wish I could see on the screen is.
I love them.
That is a deep cut. All right. My favorite relationship, I'm just going to go this way. My favorite relationship, no surprise, Lan and Nynaeve. Very. I know.
I'm
Shocked. Least favorite, probably also no surprise, Morghese and Talonvor. God, I hate them. Talonvor just needs to die in a fire. Okay.
I've got a tie for favorite, Matna Ludra and Galad and Berlane. Least favorite is, Matt and Tylan.
I don't even count them as a relationship. I don't count them as a
We're not
relationship.
counting them as a relationship.
Yeah.
Then Matt and Tuan.
Okay. Interesting.
Wait, your least favorite.
Least favorite, Matt and Tuan.
Okay, yeah.
Favorite, Matt and Aludra.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Josie.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you on Matt and Eludra. I also love Nine Even Land. Those are both excellent. Least favorite is Egwene and Gawain.
How did none of us
Yeah.
say that?
Well, the only, yeah, well, Morghese and Talonvor beat them out because of how much I hate Talonvor. Yeah, we don't talk about Gawain. No, no, no. All right. Yes. Well, I think that's it. Like we on the nose. So thank you all so much for coming. Yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see pictures.
Yes.
Thank you.
Did we?
If anyone wants,
If anyone
She
wants to
killed
take a
it.
picture.
Lesbian Nerdy killed it. Thank you for being a first time reader. Finish the books, my friend. Finish the books. We'll see you next year. All right, we're doing the pictures. Let's stand up. Stand up.
all right.
Oh, yeah.
Let's move the tables there.
Yeah, you gotta put your mask on.
Yeah. I'll even have my bracer.
We're gonna get closer to the front so we don't get her face.
I'm smiling under my mask.
I am smiling so hard.
I'm smiling behind my mask and under my mask. It's ridiculous. Are we done? I
I
can't
would say
see.
my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Is ranch and everything.
Honestly,